All right. I want to talk about this recent announcement or the reporting of it that Tank Davis against Lamont Roach is on. Tank Davis defending his 135-pound title against Roach, who is a 130-pound title holder. That will happen on March 1st at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. This fight was discussed, Sergio, for December of this year, just a few weeks from now. That date fell out. Now it's been rescheduled for March. So are you okay with Tank Davis fighting Lamont Roach?
Of course not. No, I don't think no one's okay with it. Lamont Roach is an excellent fighter, but he's already been beaten on the championship level. I mean, once you have that blemish against a fighter, I think it was Jamel Herring who beat him.
Jamel
Herring,
beat him, yeah.
Yeah. So
for that title, he fought for Jamel's title at 135.
And Jamel Herring, as talented as he is, he was an older fighter. He just retired now. Older fighter, clever, slide, like an Austin Trout type fighter. But he wasn't he wasn't a pound for pound guy. He wasn't elite. He wasn't one of these guys that you would put at the top of the list in their weight division. He was a guy that he was a solid champion, and he beat Lamont Roach. If Herring at that point of his career could beat a Lamont Roach, what makes you think Tank or anyone else in the lightweight championship division will do? Nobody wants to watch Tank fight these guys in-house anymore. Nobody. We're getting tired of it. Now, mind you, I was an advocate initially. I mean, if you remember back in the day, a year, 2, 3 years ago, when we were talking about Tank, I used to praise Mayweather Promotions, saying, man, they're laughing all the way to the bank. They're keeping it in-house. They're fighting guys that they can beat. They're making a killing in pay-per-view. That ain't me anymore. My mentality has evolved, Chris Mannix. I'm tired of this shit. I think me and everyone else in boxing is tired of Tank fighting these guys. Yes, they're good opponents. Yes, they're keeping it in his house. Yes, he's still a star, a pound-for-pound pay-per-view attraction. He's a killer, and I'm still watching. I don't care who he's fighting. I'm still going to watch. I'm still going to pay, sadly. But I'm tired of it, man. Come on. Stop fighting these fucking guys and start fighting the guys that are in front of you that are the biggest names in your weight division. You're in your 30s, man. What are you doing? What are you doing if you're Tank Davis? You're making a killing in money, but your legacy's going out the window. I mean, can you say right now you vote for the Hall of Fame?
Mannix? Oh no.
Will you say? I mean, I don't vote, but yeah. I wouldn't say Tank's a Hall of Famer.
No.
I would say he had an incredibly one-sided, profitable career. He made all the right decisions and matchmaking. He made a killing in pay-per-view, and he was a monster puncher. But he ain't gonna be remembered, and he's not gonna be a Hall of Famer.
He'll be remembered, but not for the accomplishments in the ring. He look, ultimately, as we've talked about, not the same thing, but with Jake Paul,
he'll be remembered for knocking out Ryan Garcia, another guy who's never won a world championship.
It's ultimately prize fighting, right? And
to this day, I still don't call Tank a champion, right? I refuse to do that.
Yeah, he got bumped up because.
Okay, just throwing it out there.
Was it
him and Ryan Garcia will be the most successful guys in history that have probably never won a legitimate world title. As far as
jury's
money,
still out.
As far as popularity, as far as what they did with their
Ryan's
career.
still pretty young. Like, Ryan's got a long way to go. He's got to overcome. We'll get to him in a minute. He's got to overcome some issues there, but I think I give Ryan a little bit of runway to accomplish that. The Tank stuff bothers me too. Like, when we did the show a few months ago and there was talk of Tank fighting Lamont Roach in December, I was okay with it because I knew the circumstances. Tank had been negotiating a fight against Vasily Lomachenko. Those talks fell apart because Lomachenko decided he didn't want to fight for the rest of the year in 2024. Fine. Like, that's Lomachenko's choice. Had a long career. Didn't want to take on Tank. So if Tank wanted to stay busy and fight before the end of the year, the options were fairly limited, right? They tried to talk to Rayo Valenzuela, but that didn't go very far. Valenzuela, of course, fought back in August. Nothing really came of Shakur Stevenson discussions at this time. So the pool shrank pretty significantly. So Roach was there. He had a legit title at 130. If you're going to do a stay busy fight in December, that's fine. But when the moment that fight fell apart, all the other options opened up. Like, why was there not a substantive conversation with Rayo Valenzuela to fight for his title at 140, which is a legitimate title? That's the title that Pitbull Cruz won. Valenzuela legitimately beat Pitbull, no matter what Pitbull says. that would have been a solid fight at 140 pounds. Tank has fought there before. He beat Mario Barrios at 140. Valenzuela was just one fight into his fight at 140, so he would have been fine size-wise. That would have been a good fight. How about your mandatory? William Zepeda, #1, just fought this past weekend. Why not do a deal to fight him? I know we're talking about Zepeda against Shakur Stevenson, but I promise you, if there was an opportunity for Zepeda to fight Tank Davis, Oscar De La Hoya, and the people at Golden Boy would have pivoted in a New York minute
100%
to make that fight happen.
100%.
There are other options out there too. Raymond Murataya, undefeated prospect in the top-ranked stable. Teofimo Lopez out there. You know, he's got a belt at 140 pounds. No love lost between Teofimo and Tank. That would have been a super fight. Two things are certain about this Tank versus Roach fight. One, it'll sell at the Barclays Center because Tank sells tickets. Remember his last fight at Barclays did like a $5 million gate. He's going to sell tickets. Two, Tank wins.
And 3, Roach is a Maryland fighter, right?
Yes.
There you go. So he's around that area.
Well, no, not quite. If they were going to do it around that area, they would have done it at the Wizards Arena in DC.
It's only like a 45-minute subway ride, or not subway, or train ride, isn't it?
It's 3.5 hours.
It looks closer on the map.
You just press the button and say DC and New York. How close are they?
It looks really close on the map when I'm watching it.
Roach is from DC. Tank is from Baltimore. That would have made the I don't know what they call it, a Capital One Arena, the right spot for it there. But they're doing Barker regardless. It'll still sell tickets. But the bottom line is Roach can't win. He doesn't have the power to hurt Tank. He might box well for a few rounds, but ultimately
it'll look similar like Tank's last fight
against Frank Martin. It might look similar to what he did against Hector Luis Garcia. Hector Luis Garcia had the same title that Lamont Roach has. And he moved up in weight, boxed pretty decently for a few rounds, and then got knocked out. That's exactly what's going to happen. And that's the problem with this. We have to stop putting Tank Davis in fights that he has no chance of losing. There is no risk to any of these fights. And I was fine with it in December. I'm not fine with it now. There's so much that PBC and Tank Davis's team could have done. So many much better fights they could have made.
Tell him, Chris
but
Mannix.
they elected not to do so.
Tell him. No, it's about time you get frustrated and fed up. I've been fed up for a long time myself. But you got to start. I mean, look, we have the microphone in front of us. We can blow our horn and say, man, you got to stop with this shit already. It's nonsense. Nobody wants to watch Tank fight these guys anymore with so much talent in the lightweight division. You need to pick a name before one of these guys picks you off, before you have a bad night, and then we're never going to see you against the big names. Can you imagine a mega fight, just like you did against Ryan Garcia, but on the championship level? It could be a Shakur, it can be a Lomachenko, it can be a Murataya, or even a Zepeda. Zepeda looked vulnerable against a southpaw and Tevin Farmer, a guy that can't punch. He looked vulnerable. So if there's a time where you can actually pick off a #1 contender, a guy with power that throws 1,000 punches a fight, where everybody would be like, whoa, Tank's fighting Camarón, I want to watch. Pay-per-view will be successful. And the fact that a Mexican's fighting a black American fighter, I tell you, it always works when it's crossed like that.
I think in a fight like that,
it sells, man. But it's not going to happen.
In a fight like that, I think Zepeda gets violently knocked out.
Hey, listen, I don't care. And as a
knocked
Mexican, I would gladly watch him get, was the word used? Violated? Violently
Not
violated.
No.
Give me another one for I could alliterate. Violently violated vigorously in the East Coast.
Sounds
but
awful.
Sign me up, man. Sign me up.
Violently violated vigorously.
Hey, you got to have a trifecta.
It sounds
there.
like something you read in a police report.
It's a trifecta of alliteration there. But look, listen to me.
What it is.
I'm on board right there because it'll be a short, violent night. And who's not on board for that? It would be like a lightweight version of Hagler Hearns. Dude, it won't go 3 rounds.
When you saw the
Name it La Guerra. Guerra, there you go.
When you saw how Tevin Farmer countered Zepeda with that left hand, just imagine those left hands coming from
Hey,
Tank.
by the way, while we're here, why are you bringing it up? Give me my credit while we're on
You did.
here.
You said that Tevin
You said it wasn't going to go 3
distance.
rounds. I think we're sitting here, by the way.
I don't think I said 3 rounds. I thought it wasn't going to go.
You said it wasn't a chance. I said, man,
yeah, I didn't.
You're crazy.
Not only, I mean, look, the fact that it went the distance wasn't totally shocking to me. Like,
Yes,
you
it
called
is.
it. It wasn't shocking. The fact that it was that competitive was shocking. Like, I could have seen Tevin Farmer. I could have seen a scenario where Tevin went the distance by holding a lot. He did that early on in that fight.
He boxed, he fought.
He
and
came
did
on
well.
and fought and started to fight in the middle to the later stages of the fight and made it competitive. That's the part that really surprised me.
All I want is my credit on there.
Get credit for it. You get credit all the time for it. Quickly, you mentioned a couple of times Ryan Garcia. Are you okay with the Ryan Garcia exhibition in Japan?
Of course I'm not, but I can't hate against Ryan Garcia because he's one of these social media influencers you can't hold down whenever you have that mass following. So
But why are you not okay with it then?
I'm not okay with it because he violated a rule, whether he cheated or not. He failed. Why is it Conor Benn, can't fight in the UK, but he came across the pond and he's fighting over here? Okay, it's a bad look for everyone in Britain saying, man, he should take his punishment. But in the States, we're like, hey, he found a loophole. Good for him. Ryan Garcia found a loophole, but why is it that he can fight and Devin Haney's still waiting in the wings when he's the one that got cheated
Devin Haney
against?
made a choice. Devin Haney had a chance to fight Sandor Martin. He passed on it. He's had some chances.
I didn't know that.
He's had some chances over the last few months to take lesser fights, but Devin wants to get paid.
I didn't know
and
that.
the fights that have been offered have not been. Yeah, this is more about Devin choosing not to fight than it is him not being able to get a fight.
Well, then good for the kid. He found the loophole. But honestly,
it's an exhibition. It's against a Japanese kickboxer.
Yeah,
it's not going to go
for
well
him.
for the kickboxer. That's
Good
for sure.
him. Staying busy, make a boatload of money, stay in the limelight. Your name recognition and value is still there, and you can't keep the kid down. Actually, you can't keep anyone down with a fucking social media following nowadays. It's that Jake Paul effect. It's kind of it's a new era we're in where it's not only in boxing, it's in sports or in any kind of marketing where if you have that following, they're going to forgive you for your hiccups and the things that you do because, hey, listen, he has eyeballs. That's the world we live in now. I don't like it, but that's the world we live in.
Here's the only thing that would concern me, and I certainly hope that Ryan Garcia's team has paid attention to this. Like the New York Commission has jurisdiction over all this. Will the New York Commission feel like it is being circumvented? Feel like that the spirit of the suspension is not being upheld? And might they tack something on? Now, I don't think so, but I would hope that Garcia's team at least kick the tires on that.
Don't be using words like circumventing around me, okay?
Went around that, okay?
Circumvented.
It's not
The
that
New
big
York
a word.
Commission can circumvent and circumcise the opportunity of Ryan Garcia to go to Japan. Whatever, man. Just say avoid. All right. So yes, the New York Athletic State Commission, which is the most rigid and stringent, since you're throwing vocabulary words around me, they're the harshest when it comes to like that, right? To upkeeping their.
They're up there. Nevada is pretty good too.
Okay, but they're up there. They're strict because I fought in New York and I knew how strict they was. They are with their testing. I got injured. They didn't want to pay for my stuff, but that's that's another story. So yes, considering that they're so strict, they can cause some hell. They can say something, and they can actually uphold their values. They can do that. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind them trying. The fact that they have so much leverage and power as one of the best commissions in the country against a kid with a lot of power and social media following. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that battle off in the courtroom because let's keep it real, man. Ryan Garcia failed the drug test. He needs to be held in contempt. He needs to be held accountable, whatever. Yeah. He needs to be punished and he needs to serve that sentence. And if he can just go to another country and make a boatload of money and stay busy, it's not a good look.
Well, I'm sure he would argue. I'm sure he would argue that he is being punished. He's not allowed to fight in a sanctioned fight. His career is being put on pause. And really, this event against this kickboxer is a glorified appearance, right? Like, I mean, this is not a real fight. It may look like one when they both step into the ring, but it's not a real fight. Like, this is kind of the equivalent of Floyd Mayweather when he fought that Japanese kickboxer. Like, that's kind of what it is. So, I don't think it's going to have an impact on Ryan Garcia's
Is it going to go on his
suspension.
boxing record?
No, it's an exhibition.
Oh, well, then it's totally fine then. I thought it was a real boxing fight.
No.
Well, what are you talking about? Jake Paul went on Mike Tyson's record. That was somewhat of an exhibition.
That was a sanctioned event, though, in
yeah,
the
but
state
do
of
you
Texas.
really think Jake Paul should beat in the
I'm not
Mike
going
Tyson's
back down the Jake
resume?
Paul rabbit hole. No, I don't. I don't think
and I
that
don't
should be the
think
case.
Ryan Garcia should be fighting if it's not going to go under his resume.
we just went round and round on this. I don't even know where we're ending up here. So let's just move on.
I tend to do that.
You do.